Tonight, a street fight in Port Augusta leaves onlookers fearing for their lives, and a new festival to celebrate the region's drive for renewable energy.
From our 7 Spencer Golf Studios, your nightly news with Casey Treelaw begins now.
Good evening. A mother says she feared for her life as a brawl in Port Augusta unfolded in front of her eyes on Sunday. The incident has now gained the attention of police, but locals say it's nothing new as they've witnessed multiple incidents in recent weeks.
A suburban street suddenly thrown into chaos as one of the persons involved shapes up and signals his intentions before unleashing with a number of wild punches.
It was quite scary.
The two both trade blows before one of the fighters quickly flees the scene. Local Stacey Struck watched the carnage unfold in front of her eyes on Sunday night.
There were sticks, there was branches, there was lengths of wood, rocks in hand.
She had stopped at the address on Pine Street with her teenage son to pick up his mobile phone, which was being fixed by a local repair business. Forced to wait in her car, she says she feared for her life as the fight broke out.
I was, unsure if someone would come through, the windscreen eventually because how there was rocks getting thrown around.
Her car was damaged in the process and she encountered difficulty trying to alert authorities.
They didn't know where the address was.
Despite the delay, Stacey says 3 police patrols quickly arrived to manage the situation. Authorities say they are investigating the incident, but did not confirm if any arrests were made. Neighbours declined to speak on camera, but told 7 Spencer Golf News incidents like this are on the rise, and it's forcing them to consider moving from the area. They say social issues in Port Augusta need to be addressed.
Sooner or later, an innocent person is going to get hurt, and it was lucky that it wasn't me or my son last night.
Garth Burley, 7 Spencer Golf News.
A man from Risdon Park has been arrested and charged after attempting to escape a random breath test in Port Pirie. Police say at 6 p.m. last Thursday, the 38-year-old driving a Toyota Ute refused to pull over and took off at speed through the back streets of Solomon Town. Patrols located the vehicle parked in the driveway of a nearby house where the man was seen exiting the vehicle before running inside the home. He's been charged with failing to stop, driving without due care, driving suspended and failing to truly answer. The man is set to appear in the Port Pirie Magistrates Court next month. Meanwhile, a Broken Hill woman has been charged with failing to submit a sufficient sample for a breath test. The 36-year-old was pulled over on Beryl Street just after midnight. After returning a positive reading roadside, she was taken to the local station for further analysis. Police say she did not blow properly into testing equipment and failed her 3 attempts to do so. A check of her record also revealed she didn't hold a current driver's licence. She's been charged with failing or refusing to submit a breath test and for driving without a licence. Norwegian company Equinor visited Port Lincoln on Friday, holding a public forum around plans to drill for oil in the Great Australian Bight. About 70 people attended the drop-in session to learn more about the company's recently released environmental plan.
Discussions to understand the future of oil in the Great Australian Bight. Port Lincoln, the last stop for Equinor in its journey of drop-in sessions around the Eyre Peninsula.
We have been asked about openness and transparency related to our activity and environmental plan. So now we have a public hearing for the environmental plan.
Last Friday, the town heard from the company wanting to explore and drill for oil, many concerned about the environmental risk it will have.
People are really interested. They want to make sure that we can do our operation in a safe manner.
The Australian Petroleum Association supporting Equinor's efforts, saying they're excited by the possibilities.
This could see the creation of over 2,000 jobs in South Australia and generate $7 billion in revenue.
Equinor says the sessions provide an opportunity for the public to give feedback after it recently published its environmental plan. Drilling expecting to start by the end of 2020, leaving the community divided.
I don't want to see any drilling in the Bight.
It should go ahead by all means.
Personally, I'm against it.
But whether their plans will go ahead depends on the regulator.
NOPSEMA will assess all our plans before we can start any drilling.
Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
The new president of the South Australian Legislative Council, Andrew McLaughlin, is keen to open up new possibilities in our regions. Today, Mr McLaughlin started out his first regional tour to meet with newly elected mayors. He spent this afternoon in Port Pirie discussing the local economy with Mayor Leon Stevens.
I know the community are very keen to diversify, open up tourism opportunities and other industries that will provide increased employment.
He'll spend the rest of the week touring Port Augusta, Whyalla, Port Lincoln, Clare and Jamestown. The state government is yet to deliver an election promise to increase the speed of the Goyder Highway through the mid-north. Locals are growing frustrated with the delays, demanding the speed limit should be returned to 110 kilometres an hour as soon as possible.
An election promise to boost the speed of the Goyder Highway has remained dormant for over a year, and now locals are calling for Parliament to speed up the process.
I was left a little bit bewildered as to why they dropped the speed limit on it from 110 down to 100.
Under the former government, 8 regional highways saw speeds reduced to improve road safety. The Goyder Highway was picked following a bout of 10 roadside injuries. Local member for Frome, Jeff Brock, opposed the legislation and is now campaigning to get the roads back to 110.
I've asked the Minister 2 or 3 times in Parliament. He keeps saying that this road needs to be upgraded and needs to spend funds on it.
The state government has been unresponsive to Mr Brock's request to have the site re-inspected by the Department of Planning, Transport and Infrastructure. Mr Brock has argued the speed limit should have never changed and has been waiting for a number of months for a response. Jeff Brock has argued that the surface condition of the Goyder Highway is much better than neighbouring roads which still operate at 110 kilometres.
To me, there are far more roads in worse condition than what this Goyder Highway is.
Dominic Beaton, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Still to come tonight, a new festival to celebrate Port Augusta's renewable energy and a unique display at a Broken Hill Museum set to open. Hello again. Mid-North Police are on a mission to curb roadside fatalities through holding a regional forum in Port Pirie. It follows in the wake of a number of casualties on the Augusta Highway, as well as almost 11 deaths on the region's roads last year.
An attempt to put the brakes on serious road accidents. SAPOL will hold an information session in Port Pirie with the hope of avoiding collision fatalities in our region. Last year saw 11 people die on York and Mid-North roads, the 3rd highest figure in the state.
So we're going to be holding a police and community engagement forum on the 26th of March in Port Pirie at the Port Pirie RSL.
This year there's already been a number of serious crashes on the Augusta Highway. Last month saw a young woman receive life-threatening injuries after her car collided with a truck. A truck driver was also seriously injured when his vehicle crashed into a ravine on the same stretch of highway.
An awareness that it's not just people driving from Adelaide through the region that are actually the people who are dying on our roads and being seriously injured.
Vice President of Port Pirie's Road Safety Group, Rex Lang, believes it's time for adults to refresh their knowledge of how to behave on the road.
Just last night I was out and there was a chap riding along with his bike and his son. He was on the outside, he was on the inside. They had little red lights flashing, but they're both dressed in black.
We're in the business of saving lives and keeping people safe, and everyone in the community has a responsibility also to do their part.
Dominic Beaton, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Port Neill's foreshore is looking more vibrant today with multiple upgrades underway. Some new footpaths, garden beds, as well as the main large centrepiece of the park being completed last week. The foreshore upgrades costing around $300,000, funded by the Tumby Bay Council and by a government grant. Developments also include better access to the town's jetty. The Port Neill Progress Association says they're also aiming to have extra shelters and gas barbecues installed. Upgrades are expected to be finished later this month. Port Augusta is set to host a new event paying homage to the region's booming renewable energy future. The Green Power Festival will take place this year, and the event has just received a major funding boost from the federal government.
Solar, wind, pumped hydro and battery storage. These are just some of the proposed renewable energy projects in the Port Augusta region. And a new festival celebrating the town's green energy future has just been given the green light.
Port Augusta is and will become the renewable capital of Australia, and we need to capitalise on that.
The Green Power Festival is an idea that Business Port Augusta has been floating for some time.
A festival for the community to actually be a part of and to further understand the exciting opportunities that will come.
The project is now able to get off the ground courtesy of a federal grant of just under $20,000. Although in its infancy, organisers have ideas for the festival, including keynote speakers, hands-on activities and the chance for community interaction with a number of projects.
How do we now, as a local economy, and how do our members and how do our businesses go to the next level and actually become key suppliers?
The event will debut later this year and is expected to run once every 2 years, hoping to put Port Augusta's energy future in the national spotlight.
I'm of the mind that probably the rest of Australia is looking at Port Augusta at the moment. There's a fair bit going on.
Garth Burley, 7 Spencer Golf News.
It's the final call for artists to join this year's Salt Festival in Port Lincoln. The 10-day event, set to open next month, showcases some of the region's most creative and unique people. Organisers offering any innovators, creators and sponsors an opportunity to join the program.
We've got another information session for people who have got those ideas brewing but are not quite sure how to put that together. So we've got another night of that on Wednesday, the 13th of March.
This year's festival has already secured national and international attention, with major musicians, exhibitions, art and food set to showcase the region. Applications close March 15. For more information, visit the Salt Festival website. Broken Hill's Sulphide Street Railway Museum is putting on the final touches to its latest exhibit. Organisers say the John Brothers Joyland section is full of historic games, pictures and even a merry-go-round.
Roll up, it's opening on Saturday.
It's the open day for the public to come along and have a look at the finale of a project that started almost 2 years ago, or over 2 years ago.
The John Brothers Joyland exhibit is a collection of funfair memorabilia from the 1920s to the 1960s. While it won't open to the public until the weekend, we were given a sneak peek at what's been set up. Among the displays, old-fashioned games and the centrepiece, a beautifully restored carousel.
All these absolutely wonderful, wonderful memories, and to top it off, all the photographs showing, we've got some beautiful photographs representing that particular era.
Doors open at 10 o'clock with the museum waiving its entrance fees for the day. However, donations would be much appreciated. A lot of time, work and research has gone into bringing this collection to life.
We're asking people to give generously with gold coins because we are a not-for-profit. Every single cent goes into our museum and we're getting bigger and bigger and we need more and more.
The descendants of the family who own the collection have permanently loaned it to the Sulphide Street Railway and Historic Museum. Miss Adams hopes with all the visitors in the city for the St Pat's races, the exhibition will have plenty of people come through the gates. Patrick Ryankey, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break, all the weekend's cricket grand finals action, and we'll have the weather details with Britt. Welcome back to local cricket now, and 3 grand finals were played out over the weekend, with new champions being crowned while others defended their title. Patrick Ryankey joins me from Broken Hill, where North went back-to-back on Saturday.
They most certainly did, Casey. The blue and white proved why they were the best side all season with a comprehensive 102-run victory over Central. In what was a fine day for cricket at Alma Oval, North opened the batting but lost 2 wickets in quick succession. Ross Casey clipped the bails of Matt Letcher before trapping Eddie Morgan for LBW the very next delivery. That brought Cody Howard to the crease. Opener Bill Bergman made a modest 25 before he was caught off a top-edged pull shot. From there, North put the foot down. Howard and Tabrack combined for a 92-run partnership with plenty of 4s and 6s before Tabrack was bowled by Rhodes. Howard was caught in the deep on 71. A few boundaries from Hack and Vella saw North finish their 40 overs at 7 for 209. Needing something special to cause an upset, Central's run chase didn't start well with Damon Pettit ousted by Kieran McAvoy. Jared Paul came in with Central at 2 for 27. Paul paired with opener Tristan Smith and tried to steady the ship, but runs were few and far between. Smith's hard-fought innings was brought short by Vella. Riley Elvery tagged on a few to the total before being caught in front, and Josh Jolliffe was stumped for a golden duck. Scott Mattia chimed in with a handy 20, but it was not enough. North bowling out the Magpies for 107 to claim back-to-back wins. To the other grand finals in the Spencer Gulf, and down in Port Augusta, South broke a 6-year premiership drought with a close win over Corn in the replayed season ender. The Bulldogs dropped 9 wickets, chasing down the 92-run total. In Port Pirie, Wandera had no problem in their grand final meeting against Solly North, dropping only 1 wicket en route to an easy win. In Port Lincoln, Southern Air has secured a spot in their GF with a solid win over Todd River. Todd River will now play Tasman in this week's prelim. Finishing off in Whyalla, and Rupina will play in this weekend's grand final after beating North. So Casey, that does it for another big weekend of local cricket.
Thanks, Pat. And time to take a look at what's happening in the weather. Here's Britt.
Thanks, Casey. It's been a partly cloudy day across the region. Port Augusta with a top of 26 degrees, Whyalla 24, Port Lincoln 22, Broken Hill and Port Pirie 26. A high pressure system south of WA has extended a ridge over South Australia, and a front moved south of the state this morning. That high will move south of the Bight this evening, continuing towards the Tasman tomorrow. On the waters, southeasterly winds at up to 15 knots with seas to 1.5 metres. Sunrise is due at 7:16 in the morning. It's looking a little warmer tomorrow with partly cloudy conditions. Port Augusta 29, Whyalla 25, Port Lincoln 24, Coffin Bay 22, Woodner and Corn both 29, Broken Hill sunny and 27, Port Pirie 28, Clare and Kadina 25, Cleve 24. And it's looking sunny over most parts for the rest of the week. Port Lincoln sticking with maximums in the mid-20s, Cleve warming up a little up to 30 degrees by Saturday, Woodner reaching a top of 35 by the end of the week. Whyalla sunny and 28 on Thursday with maximums heading back into the 30s, Port Augusta sunny and 33 Thursday and Friday, Kadina back up into the 30s to end the week. Port Pirie sunny with tops in the 30s, similar conditions for Clare, warming up to 30 on Saturday, and the sunny days continue for Broken Hill. And that's it from me, Casey. Back to you.
Thanks for that, Britt. And that's the local news this Tuesday evening. Thanks for joining us. I'll have updates later. Until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.